Hey guys, it's Matthew here once again, and to say that shit just got real in the Path of Exile world is a bit of an understatement. For what was just announced is kind of more than any of us ever expected, at least this early on in the game's timeline. For what we have here is Path of Exile Fall of Oriath, the 3.0 expansion coming in something like June or July, somewhere halfway through the year. About 5 months of waiting time from here on out, maybe less, maybe more, who knows. Anyway, it's coming, and holy shit is there a lot of things coming our way. We were all expecting Act 5, right? Just another act, and that's what we're getting. But we're also getting Act 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So essentially, this is the trailer here, and you're getting in end from all the stuff we can gather so far. 24 massive new bosses, so like actual proper end game content sort of bosses, or you know, fightable and mechanically based bosses. A whole bunch of new acts, that's 6 new acts, and which is essentially going to be a rehash, or a lot of it, or something like half of it will be a bit of a rehash over the current acts we've been playing, which is the first 4, and then we go back through Rayclast or Oriath and we fight that shit again in a different setting. A lot of the information's out there in the trailer and in the stuff I'll link further in the description. But there's a lot of information for you to go over right now yourself. I won't go over it for you. I'll just, have a quick little discussion over what's been released here and the fact that it's completely mind-blowing. So no longer do we have a playthrough of normal, cruel, and merciless like we have been accustomed to for so long. Speculation was that cruel would be removed, but turns out they're removing the merciless aspect or the replayability aspect of it, and we now have 10 acts, and you go through it once. So throughout your leveling experience, you start in Act 1 and progress all the way through to Act 10, and then once you're done with that, you get into maps. So there's only going to be one playthrough for your new character, and I think that is completely insane, in a good way, for the game's health and, well, new players coming to the game, because I have encountered plenty of people myself, personally, who have played the game, gone through normal, and then just could not be bothered going through cruel or merciless, knowing that it's the same game, just a little bit harder or a little bit tweaked. So now you're going to hit Act 4, finish it, and then go through into Act 5, and then through to 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And a lot of it will be sort of rehashed with the content that we currently have, but it'll be sort of different zones with different bosses and different layouts a bit going through them. So this, for example, is our broken bridge where Creighton is. Well, turns out we can go through it and do things. And there's a lot to look over here for yourselves, guys. I will let you do that. But yeah, Act 5, that's the snow area we've been expecting and will be getting. There's a whole new bunch of bosses and content to fight. I don't even know where to start or where to end here. There's just so freaking much. A lot of these bosses look super cool and super exciting to get to. So they do go over each sort of act in brief here, and largely it'll be like Act 6 is the equivalent of Act 1, Act 7 the equivalent of Act 2, Act 8 the equivalent of Act 3, and then Act 9 the equivalent of Act 4, and then Act 5, Act 10, well, we don't have much information on that yet. But yeah, a lot of it just looks super sweet, and they've given a few clips out of boss fights and all that, and I'll link you guys to those as well. And also on top of that, there will be claiming the power of the gods, which is a new system called the Pantheon system, where after you defeat certain bosses, you'll get a few extra perks to your character based off of the bosses you kill, and then they're just going to be bonuses that you can change as you see fit versus certain content. So apparently there'll be 4 major nodes that you can pick from, and I think it said 12 minor nodes. You can have 1 major and 1 minor at any one time, and you can swap them out easily as you want in town though. So very easy to swap between, but you have to be in town to do so. And depends on the fight, will depend on what sort of buffs and bonuses you want, it seems. They have several there for us to look at, and there's more in the links in other descriptions too. And then there's a pretty sweet picture here too. So in essence, this is all of the announcements and everywhere you can see the information. So there's lots of interviews and announcements on various websites. Ziggy D has a preview video that I highly suggest you check out for Act 6, I believe. And Reddit itself is in an absolute buzz and hype, and we've even managed to reach the top thread on Reddit all for the announcement itself, which is a pretty big deal if you're a Redditor yourself. One of the other sort of major announcements is the Legacy Challenge League. So once Breach ends, the Legacy Challenge League will begin a few days after, I believe. The timeline is over here somewhere as far as what's happening. Currently, we're on February 14th, the Fall of Oriath announcement. In another couple days, we'll get full details on the Legacy League and 2.6, which is coming on March 3rd. So that's when the Legacy League starts. Then there's Fall of Oriath Beta begins, and there's a bit of info in that throughout the following links that hype up the whole expansion and all that. So essentially beta will be open to quite a lot of people, potentially people that have bought supporter packs in the past, potentially people that buy supporter packs with a beta key attached to it for the future, and also random people. So there's going to be quite a lot of anyone that wants to enter beta has a pretty strong chance of getting into it. And then the Fall of Oriath full release will be June to July. So the Challenge League itself, Legacy Challenge League, there's some info here about it. It will be a combination of the previous 17 Challenge Leagues we've done, so every single one of them, sort of like a flashback league, but at the moment it says, or the info that we know so far, is you'll be able to combine any 3 of the previous leagues via these sorts of stones that you find. So you'll be able to find, let's just say, a Nemesis League stone, and then apply that to your entire league, meaning you have a Nemesis League now when you're playing. And then you can find 2 other ones, and they will also benefit you. So you can have 3 leagues up at any one time, pretty much all the time, as is my understanding. And the different stones you find will potentially have different buffs on them of how strong that league is, or the different mods of that league, I believe. So there is a lot to choose from. You can customize it yourself, and we'll have full info about that in the next 2 days. But it sounds like a really good league, at least for a filler league between now and the expansion, which will of course have 6 new fucking acts, so that's a pretty big deal. Now, as I have mentioned, there will be plenty of stuff you can look through yourself in the coming videos if you want to spoil a bit for yourself, and you probably do. This will be one of the boss fights that come in the future in the new acts, and this one looks rather sweet. So you have this sort of Grand Vizier guy that casts a whole various amount of spells, as well as that he summons or reanimates some statues, which then interact with the entire game and the system itself by you needing to use them to avoid things or, you know, block certain other spells. And there's lots of other previews and stuff to go with other articles, and I'll let you guys look through that all by yourself, because there's no need for me to look through all of them and commentate as need be, because all I'm here to do is basically give you a quick overview of the fact that it's gonna be huge. I'm pretty goddamn excited. I don't think I've ever been you know, I'm not a very hyped person, you might know that already, but I don't think I've ever been more excited for an upcoming game or expansion, because I usually set my bar pretty low when it comes to things I'm expecting. Even from Path of Exile, it's always just exceeding my expectations, but I never really expect anything from them. I, you know, play the game, I enjoy the game, even in its current state. I'm happy with, you know, just a new league every now and again, and it gets me still going through the game, and I still enjoy it thoroughly. So I expect nothing out of them, and the fact that they just keep delivering just non-stop, more content, more expansions, more, you know, just everything, it blows my mind. And 6 new acts with all kinds of new bosses, new gear coming, and a new league coming pretty soon too. It's going to be amazing, and yeah, I hope you guys are just as hyped as I am about it, and I hope you really do like the way this looks and where it's going. On top of that, there's quite a lot of new information about the Xbox and the Xbox release, and that actually looks really good. There's a few videos going out there about the play, how you play with the Xbox, and a bit of the gameplay. And I think it looks really good. I'd actually even probably give it a shot myself. Had I an Xbox, but I don't at the moment. Maybe that'll change in the future. It looks pretty smooth and definitely worth trying. One of the key things Chris said in one of those interviews was that it's not about dumbing down the game to the Xbox. It's more about bringing the current game we have to more hardcore Xbox players. For those that do want to play it on their Xbox with the control rather than the mouse and the keyboard and all that, but it's more of an added challenge rather than something that's just going to be a bit easier and more face roll for you. And it looked pretty good, and I liked what I saw from the previews and the gameplay of how they've brought it over to Xbox, and it looks very worth giving a shot. So that's all I'll say about this. Fall of Oriath looks freaking amazing. I'm going to be still pretty happy to play the next Challenge League, Legacy Leagues. I think should be very fun. And yeah, I can't wait to see more announcements, and hopefully I'll have more videos about that in the future for you guys. Path of Exile seems to be growing massively. That's good for me, that's good for you, that's good for all of us, and I couldn't be happy with the direction of the game so far. Thank you very much for watching, and see you guys next time.